What's up, everyone? Hunter Wood is back here, and we are going to talk today about something I think is very, very important, and something that when Jimmy and I at K-Zone look at the current climate of travel baseball and youth baseball, we see this a lot, and we want to be a help here. Now, one thing that's going to be tough as I begin to talk about some of these things is we could all probably relate to these things, but the tough part's going to be taking these things and really owning them, because we do think they'll benefit both you and your player, your son or your daughter. So what we want to talk about right now is what our focus, financial focus, our energy and effort focus should be for each grade of your ball player's current standing. So starting with 7th and 8th graders, there are tons of lies that I don't even think that the people that are saying them know they're lies or believe them to be lies. But from someone that's been on the youth baseball side and then has made it to high school, made it through college, made it to the professional ranks, and then coached on the other side of that, I now know are just untrue. So one big selling point for a lot of ball players that are in 6th and 7th and 8th grade is I need to be on a travel team. And this travel team has to be at least 3.5 hours away from home every weekend, playing 8 games in 3 days, starting tournaments on Thursday, ending them on Tuesday. You know, if I want my son to be great, I have to go and do those things. And once again, I now believe that to be a lie. And I don't believe, once again, a lot of folks that are maybe organizing these schedules, I don't believe they mean it to be that way. They probably want to offer something that families feel is valuable. I just know every time you leave your home with your family for an extended period of time, that's a hotel room, that's travel, that's money, that's time away from maybe what God's truly called you to do, to be that nuclear family and to pour into your kids. And that's a lot of money. So what we want to talk into and speak into today is for 7th and 8th graders, 6th graders, they are still very much in the development aspect of things. And I work with high schoolers, and some hours I'll turn around and I'll work with middle schoolers. And as much as I love everyone that we work with, they're just different athletes. They're different kids. They're different maturity levels. So what comes with that is facing the reality that a lot of the selling points that maybe travel ball organizations would tell you about playing in this big tournament in Pittsburgh or going down to this big tournament in Florida. You know, they're saying you're playing high-level competition, and that's wonderful. That's good. You're getting in the most, this tournament, they're a AAA team, et cetera, et cetera. But the truth of the matter is, if the goal for your player is to play high school baseball, if the goal for your player is to play college baseball and beyond, there will not be a college baseball coach at a 7th or 8th graders tournament schedule. There just won't. Also, despite maybe some playing experience that they'll gain, these players need tons of development mechanically, physically, mentally. And what we're trying to encourage people to do is don't buy into the trap that you must do this, you must keep up with the Joneses. So-and-so son played on this team, they went to that tournament and they got 3rd place in that tournament, so we must do this too. We work very much on the recruiting end for our older guys. We have a recruiting service that we offer, and we've seen lots of good fruit from it. And there are some questions I've never, ever been asked. Never once, as we send a guy out and say we think this guy's a player, never have I ever been asked what summer ball team did he play for in the 8th grade and how many tournaments did they win. Never have I been asked for his 7th and 8th grade stats. These things aren't things we're asked for. So once again, we can buy into that. But these kids in 7th, 8th grade, they need development. And I'm going to be honest with you, as a player who went through the travel ball scene in high school and college and pro ball, I can say some of these kids just need some time off. And that's something that we don't like to hear either, because once again, how are they going to keep up if they don't go play at all these tournaments and do all these things? Some of these kids, all of them, I'll say that their minds are not developed. I didn't know how to deal with failure all that great in 7th and 8th grade. And when we expose them to constant failure, we just, we can take the really, really hard-nosed mentality and say, well, you just got to keep pushing. Well, that's true. But also, they're 14 years old. They probably just need a day off. They need to go fishing or something like that. So that is the middle school age group. Our focus, we want to tell you guys, is it probably shouldn't be traveling all across America. It should be staying home, being with your family, growing as men, going to church, honoring God, learning skills that will be valuable. And if you have time and if you have money and energy to pour into something, we would say pour it into strength training, pour it into diet, pour it into training skills. Yes, you have to play baseball. I understand that. But you don't have to play baseball 10 months a year. That is a myth. That is not true. All right, transitioning from 7th, let's go to the 9th and 10th graders. And we'll even throw the 11th graders in there here at the end. 9th and 10th graders, so we're in high school now. Your appearing before college coaches is becoming more and more important. But once again, being a high school player, being a college player, being a pro player, and then coaching college baseball and coaching high school baseball, yes, being on the travel ball circuit gets more important, but at the end of the day, if there was a college coach attending your 9th or 10th graders baseball game, they're still not at that point going to be developed enough, unless there's some rare cases of super athletic and strong kids, where a college coach it's not gonna matter to him. They are looking for guys at the Division I level, which is where everyone starts, right? We all want to go to Division I. They're looking for guys, right-handed arms, that throw 90 miles an hour. That's what they're looking for. There's some exceptions, sure. If you're 6'5" and left-handed, we can do an 86, maybe, an 87. But they're looking for guys that move very, very quickly. And they're looking for guys in the offensive end that can hit the ball 100 miles an hour off the bat. So if that's kind of the measuring stick, and I know we can have the argument, well, Greg Maddux didn't throw hard. Sure, yes, Greg Maddux is an exception. You can make the argument, well, Pete Rose didn't hit many home runs. That's true, but he also had 4,000 hits in the big leagues, okay? So don't run off to the exception here. Let's just be honest with what college coaches are looking for. They're starting with measuring sticks, meaning they have to take the measuring stick and say, can they hit the ball this hard? And why does exit velocity matter? Why does a child's strength matter? Why does their physical development matter for college coaches? Is because if they can't do this, if they can't hit the ball 100 miles off the bat, that means they're going to have a really tough time hitting a baseball through the infield at the SEC level. That means if they don't hit the ball 100 miles an hour off the bat, they're going to have a really tough time leaving the ballpark as a college baseball player. And that's the measuring stick, right? Now, yes, if we have these metrics, then we can start talking about the guys we want. Okay, maybe he's 97 exit velocity, but he's really, really good defensively. Maybe he's 112 exit velocity, but he strikes out too much. We can work with that, right? And at the end of the day, as much as they may hit 400 for the travel ball team and win 4 gold rings playing in that city's World Series tournament, at the end of the day, if their exit velocity is 74 as a 9th or 10th grader, that does not currently matter to college coaches. So I want to dispel that myth. If you're in the 9th and 10th grade and you're running under a 760, that's good. If your exit velocity is north of a 90, that's great. If you can throw the ball 85, 86, that's wonderful. But still, their recruiting class and their concerns, they're trying to field a team for next year. So you're still a few years off in the 9th and 10th grade realm, which means your focus should still be on finding a place. Yes, you can play baseball, but development, strength. We need less 4-day tournaments and more barbells moving. We need less throwing 300 pitches in 2 days and more calories consumed. That is the development at 9th and 10th grade. Yes, they need to be on a team. They do. But if your team does not allow you to be at Grand Park in Indianapolis, which is a hotbed for recruiting, or Lake Point, which is in Georgia there in Atlanta, those are the teams you need to look for. Then 11th graders and 12th graders. Now we are in the prime of recruiting. But one thing we have to realize when we get to 11th and 12th grade is most Division I universities, they are done with the next year's class in April. So let's put it like this. This current graduating class is the class of 2026. Most Division I universities were done with the class of 2026 in April of 2025. A year before, right? So with that being said, if you're an 11th grader and you are not currently fielding college coach contacts from Division I universities, you're probably not going to play Division I baseball out of high school. That's just honest, right? Not saying it's impossible. That's just honest, right? So what are you, and there's a reason why normally. Either we've not been seen, which we can help with that, or the metrics aren't there, right? So we've experienced this in our recruiting service already. We have a number of guys. They're good high school ball players. They're great kids. God loves them. We love them, right? But when we put a video together for them or we get metrics out to coaches, their metrics aren't there, right? These kids are immediately, not even for Division I, for Division II, Division III, NAIA schools, JUCO schools, they're immediately what they would consider a project, which means if we give this kid money to come to school here and we pay them to come to school here and pay for their education, we are already fighting an uphill battle. So the whole focus towards fitness and increasing strength and hitting the ball harder and throwing the ball harder and those things, that becomes even more important. If you're not currently fielding phone calls the previous year, you're not playing Division I baseball out of high school, likely, all right? But that doesn't mean that the Division II, the Division III, the NAIA, and the JUCO, they're looking for guys during that time. What do they want to see? They want to see a metric. They want to see a strength number. And they want to see a physique and a build in which they can say, that guy belongs in our locker room, and we're going to take a chance on him. So even in the 11th and 12th grade realm, unless you're an exceptional D1 talent, that's going to be abundantly clear. You're going to hit 400 at least in high school. You're going to strike out 60 guys, and you're going to have a sub 1.5 ERA. That's a Division I talent. That's going to be abundantly clear. Everyone else, guess what your focus should be? Get on a team that will take you to Lake Point or Grand Park, that being in Georgia or Indianapolis, and lift weights and eat calories and increase these metrics, because that is still what coaches are looking for. So that sounds like I'm being a dead horse, but we're being completely honest. For instance, if you're a Kentucky kid, we found this out this summer. I knew this, but I re-found this out this summer. If you're a Kentucky kid, California college Division I isn't looking at you unless you're an exceptional talent. I'm talking a top-tier talent. I'm talking a possible draft pick. And here's why. They can't put their eyes on you. They can't see you. Very few college coaches are going to sign you, offer you without seeing you. Less than probably 1%. So your focus needs to be, I'm in the area. I'm in 3 hours. I'm in Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Division II, Division III, NAIA. I am trying to get my metrics up. So when Hunter or Jimmy or somebody sends them my information, they can see a 90 exit velocity. They can see a sub 7 60-yard dash, and they can see somebody on the mound that throws the ball 85, 86 mile an hour. That is our goal. And until you guys get there, until our kiddos get there, once again, and being completely honest, because we're not supposed to lie, God's commanded that, college coaches are not going to matter a whole lot in the conversation of someone that doesn't meet those metrics. So with that being said, we don't want people to waste money. We want you guys to be successful. We want you to honor God. We want you to enjoy this ride. The younger guys and even the older guys, they're doing a lot of things that are probably just a payday for folks. We want you guys to take the money God's given you, be good stewards of it, and also help your youngins. So that's my long form video for this week. We'll see you guys later.